Everyone, it's Arun Reddy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel Arun Reddy Tech for You. In this video, we are going to learn a topic called inheritance. So friends, if you are new to my video and if you want to learn C++, you can go through my channel playlist. There is a channel playlist called C++ where remaining videos are available and they are in English. Suppose if you want the videos in Telugu, there is another playlist called C++ in Telugu. Okay, so you can go through the playlist where remaining videos are available. Not only C++, if you want any other subject like Power BI, DBMS, C, Python, VBA, MS Word, PowerPoint, you can go through my channel playlist. They are available in English and Telugu. Right. So let us move to our topic. The topic is inheritance. Inheritance, generally you heard the word inheritance, right? Something we get from your parents, right? Okay, so sometimes it may be a disease, sometimes it may be profit, sometimes it may be assets, sometimes it may be a liabilities, right? Okay, so inheritance is a capability of one class to derive or inherit properties of another class. So here we are discussing about the human father. From father you are getting a property or a liability or a disease from the parents, right? Here we are talking about the classes. Okay, class also has a parent class and child class. Okay, so we call it as super class, subclass, or base class, derived class. Okay, so you can see here inheritance is a capability of one class is to derive or inherit property of another class. So what we are saying, one class properties can be used by another one. Okay, so that, or you can say derived by the other class, right? So the class that derives property is called derived class or child class. The class from which properties are being derived is called base class or parent class. Okay, so which the class which will give the properties is called as parent or base class. Okay, and class which will take, or we'll call it as derived class or child class because it will take, right? Okay, so this is what definition of inheritance, right? Okay, so now you can see here there is a class A, class B. Now class A properties are inherited by class B. What we are saying here, class A properties are inherited by class B. So let us assume you are a B and your parents are A. Now your parent property, or you are taking the parent property, you are using the, you are inheriting the parent property, right? So here B is a child and A is a what, parent, or we can also call B is a derived class or child class, A is a base class or parent class. We can also call it as super class and subclass also, right? So B derived from A is parent class or base class, B is derived class or child class. Okay, generally the child will inherit rights properties from the parent, right? Okay, now let us see how we write the inheritance syntax. Okay, so generally we'll write class and class name, right? So for the base class we'll just write as usually. Okay, as usually base class will not have any changes, right? Only derived class will have, the child class will have. What is the changes? The changes is class name, and there we use a colon, right? This colon will make us understand or help us to understand that you are a derived class. If you there is a colon, then you are a derived class, and there is a base class, which base class you are inheriting. Okay, so the colon is a symbol which will help us to understand that this is the inheritance class, or we use colon to make inheritance, right? Okay, so body of the derived. Only difference is visibility mode means whether it is a public, private, or protected. Now, what is this? We have public, private, protected. I will explain you. Okay, last time we have also seen about the modifiers. Okay, access modifiers. In the topic, we have seen private, public, protected. Here we will see how this visibility mode will affect the derived class and uh, base class. So a small example I have written. See what I am doing. I have class based. Okay, so where I have created base C. Base class will write as usual, just like normal class. Okay, nothing we will write extra. Okay, so for example, int n is equal to 20. Now the n is used outside the class, right? Because it is public. Okay, suppose if it is protected, then it can be used with the child class also. Suppose if it is private, private, then it cannot be used, even the child cannot use it, right? Okay, so now what is the derived class means? See, you can see here, child so class derived public base. Now public is visibility mode. Okay, now what is base? C, class name. That means you are derived, your class derived, and you are deriving from the base class. Okay, now what you are deriving? See, I directly said C out n. Now where is n? Where do I got n from? Now I have inherited the n, okay, which is property of base class into the child class. Now this is a child class, this is a base class. Okay, this is a base class, this is a derived class. Now I have inherited, see, directly I am saying C out n. Now where is this n is? From the base class. How I am using the n from the base class to child class? Only thing is we mentioned colon. Colon specifies that derived class, and after the colon, if you write any class name, that will become a base class. Okay, so that's why I see what only difference is in the derived class you write class derived class name. Okay, so here we have written, okay, visibility mode, that means public, private, protected, base class. Okay, right. Now this is a small program. Okay, so what I am doing, just see, whenever you create a object, now you should write base class, sorry, derived class name. Okay, because derived class is inheriting properties of base class, you doesn't need to mention the base class, just say derived class D. Now D dot function means automatically it will, see, when you are calling derived class, automatically it will use the it will go and access the base class function. That's the specialty of derived class, right? Okay, now D dot display means, what is D dot display? C out. Now it will access n, then it will print n, nothing but a 22. So it will print 22. Output will be 22. Right? So I'll explain the program again in the single inheritance, because this is a single inheritance. Let us move to the visibilities. Okay. Okay. Now visibility mode, we have seen the visibility mode, right? Okay. Now what is this visibility mode? There are three. Okay. One is private, protected, public. First one is private, second one is protected, third one is public. Now suppose the base class has public, protected, private. Okay, A is public, B is privated, and C is P is private and B is protected. What do you mean by that? Public means A into A. Now A can be used by outside the class. A can be used outside the class, because I have mentioned it public. Now what do you mean by protected? Means protected means int B can be used only in the inheritance, okay, derived class. Now you cannot use outside the class, just like public int A can be used outside the class also, right? Now protected, what it will do, it will not allow in the outside the class, okay, but it will allow in the derived class. Now private will not allow in neither in the derived class nor in the outside the class. Okay, now C cannot be used anywhere. Okay, so now you can see here, this is the derived class, this is the base class. So base class, if it is private, nowhere. See, even if it is a mode is public, private, protected, if it is mode protected, private, you cannot access. Now C cannot be accessed anywhere. You can see here, C cannot be accessed, but A can access as a, see, in A can access as public. Okay, now public can be accessed as public, protected can be accessed as protected when you have a public class, but private cannot be accessed. Same way, suppose you have visibility mode protected in the derived class. Now A will also be act as a, now even it is public, it will be protected in the base class. Even B is protected, it will be as usual protected in the base class, right? Okay, so now you can see here, both are protected if it is protected mode, but again private cannot be inherited, right? Suppose if it is private, what happens? See, A can be act, now A also, what even it is public, now it is private. B is protected still, now it is private, and private cannot be inherited, right? Now you can see here, private and not inherited, right? So I hope you have understood, right? Once again, okay, so what you are saying here, public, protected will act as is, as they are in the public class, but public and protected will act as protected in the protected mode. In the derived class, if it is protected mode, it will act as a protected. And in that, if it is private, all will act as a private. Okay, and of course, private cannot be accessed. If it already is class, a base class private, then it cannot be accessed in the derived class. Okay, so this is what visibility mode table it is. Okay, just remember this to make you understand the inheritance. Okay, right. Now types of inheritance. There are single inheritance, multi-level inheritance. That means she will just like your child and grandchild, parent and grandparent, right? And hierarchical where one parent and many childs will be there. Okay, multiple inheritance where parents one child and many parents are there. Okay, 1 to n or n to 1, sorry, n to 1, this is a 1 to n. Okay, and hybrid where it is more than one inheritance. For example, you can see here, you can see here it is hierarchical mode, and down it is a multi inheritance mode. Okay, right. And you can also find a multi-level inheritance and single inheritance in this. So hybrid is a combination of two or more inheritance. Okay, right. So let us see one by one. First, single inheritance. Inheritance is a process by which one class takes an attribute and methods of another class. What you are saying, one class will take methods and attributes of another class. Okay, okay. So newly formed class are called child class, and the class that you derived child class, same just now we have discussed. Okay, so here you can see a, b are there, b is a derived class, a is a parent class, and you can see here we write colon. Okay, and public is a visibility mode, right? Okay, so same example I have taken, right? So let us see the program, right? Just now we have seen the program, right? So let us run the program and see, right? Now we are in the Dev C++, and you can see the program. Okay, I have taken a class base. Okay, class base and the class derived. Okay, you can also take as a, b if you want. Okay, right, class base derived. Okay, and here I have taken a base class as a derived. Sorry, one minute. Okay, so right, so here we can see class base class. Okay, here we have a derived colon will indicate the inheritance, right? So base class. Now I am taking n is equal to 22 and I am printing in the derived class, right? So let us check if we have any errors. Okay, compile, right, no errors. So let me execute. When I execute, you will see the output will be 22. Okay, right, nice, right? Okay. Now our next inheritance, multi-level inheritance. So first one was multiple inheritance, second one was multi-level inheritance. Now what do you mean by multi-level inheritance? Just like uh, now till single inheritance it was only one generation, right? Parent and child. Now there's another generation. Okay, so multi-level 1, 2. Now C is inheriting from B, B is inheriting from A. Okay, so if level is more than one, then you will call multi-level. For example, D is also there. So D is from C, C is from B, B is from A. Right? Okay. So multi-level inheritance is achieved when a derived class inherits another derived. Now see, this derived class is inheriting from the B, and this also is a derived class from the A. Okay. So there is no limit on the number of level ups. See, there is no limit. Just I have sample, I have taken 3, but it may go for 4, 5 also, right? So sorry, which the multi-level inheritance is achieved in C++, sorry. Okay, so let us see how this work. Okay, so see here, you can see here, I have inherited, now B is inheriting A's property, the same way C is inheriting B's property. Now which class we have to write, which class we have to create object? Again, if you create object on C, automatically you will get the properties of B and A in the main program, right? So let us see a small example. You can see here. Okay, so class A, I have created n is equal to 22, and class B, m is equal to n. That now n, again m is equal to n means 22 will be m is equal to 22. Now I am printing m, right? So let us see. Okay, Now coming back to our program, you can see here class A and class B is deriving from the A and class C is deriving from the B. But when I created the object, what I have done, I have used C. Okay, why I have used C? Because once you create object on C, automatically you can access the properties of B and A. Right? Now let us see function 1. Okay, if fun1, fun2. Now I said display. Okay. So if now what will be the answer? Answer will be yes. Answer will be 22. Right. So compile. No errors. Very good. If I run and you can see the answer is 22. Nice. Right. Now once again let us see how this work. Okay. So now what we have done in the multi-level inheritance, first n property is inherited by the b. Okay. So m is equal to n. Again what happened? N is inherited into the C, right? So this is how directly we have created object on C and we have used the B and A properties. Nice, right? Now let us move to the next one. Sorry. Okay, let us move to the next one. Hierarchical inheritance. Now what is this hierarchical inheritance means? Where one parent and many children will be there. Okay, I have taken only two, but we can take more than one, more than two. Right? So hierarchical inheritance is achieved when a multiple derived class inherits from the base class. Right? Okay, so simple program A. Now B class is inheriting A and C class is also inheriting A. Right? So both are inheriting from the okay one by one. Right? Now let us see how the program works. Okay. For example, now A access in the B. Okay, so n is equal to 20, m is equal to 30. I have taken two. I have taken two values. N is equal to, so I have printed. Now I have created two objects. One is B and C. Now when I created object B, so first object dot display. So what it will print? 20. Now again I will create an object C. Okay, second object dot display, it will print 30. Okay, it will print 30. Right. So let us see. Back to again Dev C++. You can see a class A. Okay, now class B is inherited from A. Okay, now again here we have sorry, it's a A, right? So we are inheriting from A. Okay, so class A, B is inheriting from class A, C is inheriting from class A. Now what I have done? See, D1 dot. Now I have created two functions. Okay, so B is a D1 and C D1. Okay, suppose if I say D1 dot display, it will print B class. Okay, if I say D2 dot display, it will print C class. Now let us see. Right. Okay. Compile. Very good. No errors. Run. See. 20, 30. 20 is D1 dot display. Okay, you can see here. Okay. So B1 D1 dot display is 20 and D2 dot display is 30. Right. Now coming back to the our topic multiple inheritance. Now how this multiple inheritance will work? Multiple inheritance, the flexibility to inherit multiple base classes into the child class. Now multiple inheritance, the flexibility to inherit multiple base class into child class. So what do you mean by that? That means see more than, now child is one but base class are more than, reverse to the hierarchical model. Okay, so what happens? See A B. Okay, now I am inheriting A into the C and B also into the C. Now how we write both together? See, public A comma B. What I am doing? Public A comma B. Now both the classes are inherited into the C. Right. For example, let us say program C. N is equal to 10, M is equal to 20. Now I want to add and show both. Okay, now I have given a function name as add. Let us see. We are back to Dev C++. Again, you can see class A, class B, and you can see here we have inherited both A and B. Public A, public B. Now what happened here? See, M is equal to 10 and M is equal to M is equal to 10. Okay, so if I add n plus n, the answer will be what it is, 20. Right? So what I have done, see, d dot function 1, d dot function 2, and d dot add. Add what it will do? It will show the output. Right. So let us see. Let us compile. When I compile, very good, no errors. Okay. So when I run, the answer is 20. Yes. Nice, right? Next inheritance is hybrid inheritance. Now, hybrid inheritance is a blend of more than one type of inheritance. Okay. So, what do you mean by more than one type of inheritance? Means you can see here B is inheriting from the A. Now, this is one inheritance, and you can see here from B and C we are inheriting D. Now, this is another inheritance. Now, you can see there's a combination of two, multiple single inheritance and multiple inheritance, both, right? So this is called hybrid inheritance, combination of both, right? Okay, so how it will work? See, B is inheriting A, right? Same way C I have created, and D is inheriting B and C, right? So let us see a small program. Okay, right, now you can see here A, B, public A. Now M is 30, A is equal to M, right? Now A will become 30. Now here B is equal to 10, right? Now I have said D, public BC, add AB. That means add. I am using add here. So let us see. We are back to the Dev C++, and you can see here class A, M is equal to 30, class B, where A is inherited, sorry, M is inherited into A, right? Okay, next class C I have created, and here you can see D, where B and C both are inherited, right? And you can see here D dot C, I have created a D function. Okay, so D1 dot function 1, D1 dot function 2, and D1 dot function 3. Okay, D1 dot add. So let us see whether it will work or not. Okay, so let us compile. Okay, once again let me run compile. Okay, compile, and you can see here 0 errors and 0 warnings. Let us run the program, and the answer should be 40, right? 30 plus 10. Yes, nice, right? So friends, hope you liked the video, and if you like the video, do subscribe and please share the video. Thank you.